Mr. Chair, through you to Mr. Baines, yesterday the Auditor General released a damning report that ripped SDTC, or the Liberal Green Slush Fund, to shreds. $120 million in taxpayers' dollars that went out the door improperly, 186 cases of conflicts of interest, $76 million that was funneled by board members that you appointed to companies that they had interests in. And so in the face of that damning report, do you stand by the appointments that you made to the SDTC board?
I think the process, Mr. Chair, through you to the parliamentarian, was open, fair, and transparent. It included the Privy Council office as well.
I asked you, Mr. Baines, do you stand by those appointments, yes or no?
I stand by the process by which the selections were made. It was an open, fair, transparent, merit-based process.
Mr. Baines, you appointed board members who then rigged the system to funnel money, $76 million, to pad their own pockets instead of investing SDTC funds in legitimate investments. In the face of the damning Auditor General's report, am I to take it you have no regrets, no remorse, you accept no responsibility?
No, what I am saying is that the process that occurred in selecting the individuals for Sustainable Development Technology Canada has been followed by all the appointments that I've made under the Governor and Council. And that means it's an open process.
In other words, you take no responsibility. That's what I take from your answer. And so now that you've made it clear that you have no regrets, that you don't take any responsibility, that speaks to, frankly, the rot and corruption of this government, I want to ask you a little bit about the decisions around appointments to the SDTC board. Did you make those decisions on your own? Yeah, I understand there's a process, but at the end of the day, did you make the final call?
You're correct. There is a process that
I asked you, did you make the final call, yes or no? Yes or no?
And so, as I was saying, there's a process. And
interested in the process. I'm familiar with the process, but I asked, did you make the final decision? Did you have the final say, yes or no? Or are you passing responsibility to someone else, perhaps the Prime Minister's office? So which is it, Mr. Baines?
So as I was saying, there's a process, and through that process, a recommendation is made, and that process
this is just ridiculous. You're deliberately obfuscating a very simple question that I asked that goes to your responsibility as Minister for appointing all of these corrupt directors to the SDTC board, and that is, did you have the final say, or did someone else have the final say, perhaps someone in the PMO? Once that letter with recommended candidates, in this case for the chair of SDTC, and you're going to come back with the number on that letter, it is up to the minister and the minister's team to then vet those recommended candidates. Is that correct?
Mr. Chair, yes, that is correct. We provide advice to the minister, and it would be for the minister to assess the candidates based on our advice and make a recommendation to the Governor and Council, which would then be approved by Cabinet.
That's right. And so PCO is not involved. Once the letter is sent, it's the minister who vets, and then the minister ultimately makes a recommendation to the Cabinet, and that individual is then appointed.
Mr. Chair, yes, that is correct. The minister would make a recommendation. For further clarity, he would send in a ministerial recommendation, or she, to the Governor and Council, and once we do a security and background check clearance, then the individual in question would be brought forward for Cabinet consideration.
Okay, well, thank you very much for that, because you have now put on the record something Minister Baines repeatedly refused to acknowledge when he appeared before the Industry Committee back in June, and that is that the buck stopped with him. The ultimate decision lied with him to appoint Annette Verschuren. And it wasn't some process and with the PCO being responsible as a minister.